question mark button to ask a question, or you can just drop us a note in the chat. Yeah. So Darren, over to you.
Sure. Okay, thank you so much, Grace, for having me. I think everybody know who Grace is. She's outstanding, and she's been helping your children a lot already. And so I think maybe I can introduce myself first. My name is Darren. I'm a motivational coach. I've been doing this for 30 years. I've been a speaker, trainer, life coach. I love working with students because myself, we all have been students ourselves and not doing very well in studies until I found the strategies how to motivate myself. And then subsequently, everything was different. Eventually, I graduated from university as the top in my course. And so I always look for, I want to help people because it's not that we are not intelligent, it's that we have not found the right strategy to do so. And so I'm happy to be here today doing this. This is a very special occasion because we are all locked in at home. And now we are facing home-based learning and parents are doing working from home. And so it's a different ball game. And we are doing this as a complimentary webinar so that it can be useful and helpful for people. And so so this is basically about me. So this is how we're going to do it. We're going to have Grace ask some questions as basic. And so we're going to lay some foundations, and after which we're going to turn the questions over to the audience and the participants who can bring up some of your specific challenges, and then we can talk through them. Okay, so perhaps Grace, you can kick off by asking me the first question.
Sure. Okay, Ken. Okay, before I ask you the first question, let's pose the questions to our parents who are in the chat today. Can we have the second poll, please?
Yeah, we're going to go to do another poll. So thank you so much for participating. This will go a long way to help us have a gauge of what we're dealing with here today.
Okay, so let's take a look at this. Wow, look at this. Okay, so if you actually have an idea of the survey results, many of us have problems with getting kids to pay attention in class. They will be there for the first 15 minutes and then after that they'll be gone into cyberspace and we can't get them back. The next one, some of us also have problems to get kids to complete their work on time and getting kids to find out what homework they have. You ask them what's your homework and say, I don't know. And then that's it, right? Okay, some of them, some of you have problems having the child catching up, but it seems like not too big an issue. No discipline to do homework. Wow, big problem. Find that because there's no teacher to account for, so they realize that, oh yeah, I can don't do homework and nobody's going to scold me, right? And then yes, of course, we have our usual technical issues because of Zooms, cannot find the link, cannot find the invite, cannot find the password. Then when it's time for the class, you cannot find the kid. Don't know where the kid went to. Okay, next one. Communication between teachers and students, and then the workload is also an issue. Okay, good. If you have any more problems, okay, let's see. Oh, what is this? Oh, wow. We can have some problems here. Still can't hear Darren. Yeah, Darren will be talking in a while. We have a few more interesting ones. My child will switch on YouTube and do her work at the same time. She'll also text on Google Hangouts with her friends or log into Instagram to chat with her friends at the same time. So this is what we call multitasking, right? And then Chloe has a question. He said, I wonder what's a reasonable TV or playtime every day. Is 2 hours a day reasonable at this moment? Now that they have no more form of enjoyment or entertainment, they can't get out there to, meet their friends, what's reasonable. Okay, we'll discuss this a little bit later on. All right, so maybe before we move on, we can maybe check in with Darren. Can we go back to the slides, please? Okay, so maybe this question to Darren would be, well, why is the motivation for home-based learning so different from school? When our kids went to school, they could follow up on their homework, they could get it done and submitted on time for the teachers. Why is it that right now, this isn't really happening for some of the students we see? Darren, maybe you want to give a little bit of insights on this?
I think this is foundational to everything we do. And it's also true for us as parents doing working from home, you will realize by now that it's a different ball game. While you're at the office and while you're at home trying to get work done, we may not be as productive at home. Well, the point is this, that the environment does play a very significant role in our motivations. For instance, the kids go to school, the environment triggers them actually to be focused and concentrated and for the purpose of learning. But the home, on the other hand, is actually a place for love, enjoyment, play, resting, and all these are triggers that are very, very powerful, that put us not in a frame to learn. And so they have they impact us in a very different ways. And so we must understand how the environment plays that part in us. Yes.
I see. Okay. Okay. So, of course, being very comfortable at home is one of the things.
Yes.
Why do you think, what is the starting point of motivating our children actually? Like, how do we actually get them, to be more motivated, in terms of home-based learning?
I mean, this is a great question because if we can't get this right, and then everything else we do is going to will fail or will not be as effective. The fundamental starting point for us to motivate children, if I can show you this, is to assume the best of the child. That means that your child has the highest positive intention. In other words, your child does want to do well in his studies. Your child does want to apply himself and study and work hard. And the reason why we need to have this belief, I know some of you are in this belief right now, looking at your own children, and you're seeing that they really want to play, they get easily distracted and all that. And let me ask you, so when you see them distracted, what goes on in your mind? You say that, oh, Lama, he or she is lazy, is distracted, just want to have fun and all that. And how do you respond to that? We tend to be impatient, we tend to be scolding, we tend to be angry and lose our temper. And does that help our children? Well, if I can just explain to you a study that was done. I've been working with teachers a lot, and this has been fundamental, but a lot of teachers forget this along the way. And so, have you heard of the self-fulfilling prophecy? There was this researchers, Rosenthal. It's called the Rosenthal effect because one of the researchers, the main researcher, was Rosenthal. What they did was they went into this primary school class, and they gave some IQ tests to the children. And then the teachers were told that, okay, this class are the lowest scoring in IQ, and the next class is higher scoring in the IQ. And so what happened was this. So the teachers knew what IQ scores that their class had. And then after 3 months, they were tested again, and they found that those in a higher IQ class actually made increase in their learning, while those in the lower IQ class supposedly did not improve in their learning. But there was a trick here in the research. While they were told that the children did take IQ tests, but they were not assigned to a lower class or a better class. They were all randomly assigned, so there was no difference. The only difference was that teacher was told that it was a lower class or a higher class. And so it was all teacher effect. So can you imagine this? The teacher goes into the lower class and they do not quite understand what's going on. What's going on in the teacher's mind? Oh, these students are lazy and doesn't want to study, and they lose. She loses her patience, and then she doesn't teach very well and gives up on the children. But on the other class, when she goes there and she says, "Oh, these are the brighter lot," and if they don't understand, says, "Oh, it's just that they don't quite understand yet," and so she's still patient. She expecting them to, and the way she approached it is very different. And so we see here the difference between the caregiver or the teacher or a parent has a big effect. And so we need to understand this. How you think about your children will relate to how you're going to respond to them, and it's the fundamental. So I want to encourage all the parents right now. The starting point is this: you need to have assume the highest positive intention. And so if you see them distracted or you see them not doing their work, then if their highest positive intention is to do well and in their studies, then the question is this: what is standing in the way of their objective for them? Perhaps there's something else, and it's better for us to work with that something else than assume that they do not want to learn. Okay, so that would be fundamental. So Grace?
Okay, thank you. So that helps us to understand a little bit better. What do you think then are some practical actions that we can possibly, take
So
to yeah.
So that's a great question, and we need to understand what I mentioned earlier about triggers. Um, so let me explain triggers to you in this diagram. You can see here that on the left-hand side, an event that occurs will lead, when we experience an event, it will lead to certain thoughts in our mind, what we think towards it, the meanings that are made for that the thing that has happened. And so here it is. And then there's a corresponding effect on our physiology, the way we sit, the way we breathe, and all that. And so the two of them, our thoughts, the meanings attributed, beliefs, and our physiology actually work together to what we call reproduce this thing called the state. And this is emotional. For instance, if the event is something scary and we thought, I'm going to die, and physiology, we go into the fight or flight mode, and then the state would be fear. And so because of that state, for instance, fear will cause us to do a certain action. We scream for help or we run away, and then eventually it will lead to an outcome or the results. And so if you can see this arrow going back, this, if it happens over a period of time and over again, it's habituated, it becomes a pattern, and it becomes a trigger. So every time we just see this event, immediately our physiology, our thoughts will go quickly there, the state is produced, and we will produce the same action and same result. So this is what the trigger does. So understand this, that when your child goes to school, there are triggers set up for him to be focused and concentrated and learning in school. While on the other hand, home, the triggers actually set up to trigger the child to do something very different from studying. And so you need to understand that fundamentally. And so back to Grace, your question. So what are the things that we can do to help our children be focused at home? So we got to ask ourselves, if the school has very powerful triggers how can we replicate those triggers for the home? And so some of the schools I heard are encouraging the parents to ask the children to put on some kind of school uniform. The very act of putting on a school uniform actually primes the mind to get ready for a day of learning. Yes, you should do that. Perhaps in the beginning of the day, you all can, the whole family can do some kind of a assembly, together, prime yourself, say the pledge, whatever that the school has that can trigger the mind to want to focus and want to learn, and it's very, very useful. Of course, what other triggers are there in school? Of course, there's a timetable. It's very useful that you come up with a timetable and of course put in the breaks, the recess, and all that, because these are triggers as well. And the classroom setting. I mean, look at the classroom, the environment where your child is doing home-based learning. Is it untidy? Is it disorderly? Are there distractions around? On the other hand, the classroom in school, the chairs, the tables are in neat rows and tidy. Nothing is on the table. There's a blackboard in front and all that. But what's powerful is this: while you can do all that, you different events have different meanings to the students. And you need to have this conversation with your child and ask your child this, and I hope that they are very, very truthful. These are useful questions that you can ask. For instance, what the top 3 things in school that make you enjoy your lesson and wanting to focus and concentrate in class? What are 3 things that help you want to focus and concentrate? And they will, when they answer that question, it gives you a clue what are the triggers in the school environment that actually prime them to want to do well. And so some of the answers could be, well, what are some of the triggers? when my teacher speaks to me patiently, when I have friends around me who will explain to me, and for some of us, we frown at that, it's like, oh no, you just want to talk to your friends. But for many of the students, having friends around actually gives them the assurance that they are all in it together. And if they are uncertain about certain things, they can actually, instead of asking the teacher direct, which may be a more threatening thing, they can ask each other and they can explain to one another the concepts or the ideas. And so it'll be very useful for you to ask your child, what are the 3 things in school that you cause you to enjoy studying? And then you can take that as a reference, as triggers that you can reproduce at home. And I'm talking about home as well, because there are triggers at home that makes the child not wanting to study. For instance, the bed is very welcoming. When you see the bed yourself, there are certain thoughts that come into your mind. Your body starts to feel tired. You just want to take a rest. And so how can we repurpose triggers at home that has already firstly triggering the outcome is different? How can we repurpose a trigger for a different outcome? Let me share you my experience from the military, where every morning when we wake up, we are supposed to make the bed, and we are supposed to pull the sheet so tight that a coin drop on it will bounce very high. And so we are told that at any point of the day there'll be a standby bed, and we're so afraid of it, so that even for after during lunchtime, when we have time on our hands, we go back to the bunk. Nobody dare to lie down on the bed, because there'll be creases, and then when standby bed, we all get it. And so there's a different focus when we go back to the bunk. And so likewise, I mean, don't go and do standby bed with your children, but it's like make them make their beds, and make it such a way that it's not welcoming for them to lie down and to rest and all that. So it's about repurposing triggers. And more specifically, if they are using a computer that they always have used for playing games, well, that's a powerful trigger for them. The computer is game time. And so you're using it for home-based learning. You're fighting very powerful forces. They are thinking of playing the game. And so if you can afford it or whatever, do not use that computer. Lock it up or put it aside, or only have, home-based learning should have protected time, and part of the timetable you can allow gaming. But if you use the same one, it can just, they'll be thinking of gaming the whole time. Okay, so this is how you can replicate the powerful triggers. These are some practical tips that you can do. All right. So
okay.
Grace.
Okay, so logging, I cannot hear the laughter. Okay, some of them are having problems with the audio. So they are going to come back in to see the unmuting, to see the replay later on. Yeah, so I'm so sorry for those who are using the handphone. And some of them are using laptop. I'm so sorry. But there will be a replay. We'll be uploading the replay of this webinar on our website. So please keep a lookout. Once it's up, we will send you an email to inform you that the uploading is done. Yeah. Okay. So over at this time, okay. So let's take a third poll right now. Okay. And let's find out what are parents actually doing to help their children focus better for home-based learning. So let's have a look right now. How are you resolving the problems that you face with your child's home-based learning? Okay, so 73% of us have voted. Let's see what the responses are. Okay, let's go down. Okay, wow.
The most. Half of us. Reward.
I'm very interested in the others. What other things do you all do?
Yeah, what are other?
Yeah, maybe you guys can share with me. What are the other things that you do to resolve the problem? Maybe I should try with my kids, Yeah. So maybe you guys can
Well, it depends
now
whether it's going to work or resourceful.
okay, sure. Okay, come. Hi everyone. Can you just put in the chat if you have selected the others option? Could you just share with us why and what exactly are you doing for this other things that problems that you face with your child? Let me see. Oh goodness. Can't do much because my son doesn't listen to me. Oh, that's very sad. Okay. Anything else? I'm just very interested what other things we can do, with our child, with our children, Yeah. Okay. Maybe at this juncture, we can let's go back to our slides. Okay, so this is a problem. This is a question that a lot of parents will ask. Like this lady Diana can't do much because my son doesn't listen to me. Yeah, it's exactly the next question that I'm going to ask. Why do my children do not follow what I tell them to do? Why are they just not listening to me? Okay, if they thought that nagging at them is bad, it's even worse now, right? Because the moms are stuck at home every day. Oh, I have a very interesting uh top suggestion by some of them. One of the mummy says bubble tea as an incentive. Okay, yes, that's bribery. Now that the bubble tea shops are closed, yeah, then we are running out of bubble tea. Okay, and then my child will face the music, and then there is ice cream. Oh, very interesting. Okay, so my child will face the music from the teacher. The teacher will text us, and we will let her know. Okay, so
Wow.
there's some sort of interaction. Yeah, there's a very nice relationship between the parents and the teachers. Ice cream sounds nice, and then we have a very nice suggestion. Ask them to self-reflect, trash out the problem. Doesn't seem to work though. Yes, that sounds like a model answer, but sometimes in reality, it just doesn't seem to work. Yeah, and there's also chips. Oh yes, potato chips.
More of the same. Yeah, food.
Food. Okay, then you have to make sure that you are really well stocked up in your cupboards. Very interesting. Ask them. Okay, let me see. Talk to them like an adult. Very good.
Nice.
Yeah, very nice, very nice. Ask them to text the teacher if the kid has problem as school teachers are following up. Okay. So if they have problems, instead of listening to you, ask them to ask their teachers for help. Yes. There's this thing about triggers that Darren talked about just now. That the encouragement and the connection with their teachers in school is definitely a trigger for our students to want to be motivated to do well. And because right now they are like kind of like far away from their teachers, they may not feel the motivation or the encouragement as much because at home they are just looking at the parents, right? And sometimes we don't say the nicest of things to them at times. Yeah. So Darren, what do we do if all else fails? And why do our children not follow what we ask them to do?
Well, before I get into that, I just want to caution as well. Just because they are doing what we are asking them to do, doesn't mean that it is the best, because they can be doing it for the short term only. Of course, if you bring out the rotan, they'll be doing it. But if the rotan is no longer there, they'll stop doing it. And so we're gonna ask ourselves: is this? Um, we don't just want them to do what we tell them to do. We want them to continue to do it when we're not around or we are not supervising them. And so we need to understand this, that we need to help our children own their own actions and outcomes. And this is very important because if, even for us, if we have to do something because we have to, our motivation is not there. We will just do the bare minimum so that we don't get into trouble. But the best frame is, how can we help our children do it because they want to? They own it. This is my goal. This is what I want to do. I want to do well in my studies. How can we help them do it because they want to rather than they have to? And so I just want to explain this to you here with this diagram. You can see here there are intrinsic and extrinsic rewards that has to do with motivation. First of all, and I see a lot of you have been using a lot of extrinsic reward, because sometimes we are already very triggered ourselves. So don't know what to do. So just never mind, throw money at the problem, throw ice cream, throw bubble tea, and you can see here anything that's outside of the person, like money, grades, exams, career, or the fear of punishment, or even praise. when they start to do it to get more of it, it's not long lasting. It's external to them. When it's no longer available, then they will not want to do it anymore. And so think about it, because rewarding them for something is powerful. Yes, you can get short-term results, but if you're no longer there, would they want to continue to do it? Okay, but on the other hand, intrinsic rewards, like the sense of achievement, it feels like, yes, I accomplished something, I did something, I earned this, I worked hard. Curiosity, I mean, they ask questions. They like naturally curious, and they ask questions about they wanting to learn more. They have interest. They take pride. Yes, I've done my work. Yes, I got all correct. You know, I've checked it twice. You know, it's me. You don't have to tell me I want to do this. Or the meaning of their learning says, you know, I'm learning because, you know, I want to be a better version of myself, and or fun. They find that, yes, I enjoy this subject. I enjoy this, and so these are intrinsic motivations. And you can see, and the question here is, which one do you think is more sustainable and non-limiting? Obviously, it's intrinsic, because it goes for the long run. If you can catch hold of this, if they can catch this early, they are set for life. And I want to say this, that this COVID-19 situation is not something that we all desire, but since it's here, I believe there's a purpose in it. All of us are now equalized, all got home-based learning. Some better off than others, get more resources. But the fact is this: if whoever can grasp home-based learning and learn to motivate themselves through this period, they will be set for life. And when school resumes, they will have the potential to go far ahead than all others who are just struggling through home-based learning, when never learn to motivate themselves. They'll go back to the old normal, where they are. Now we are at a new normal. And so I want to encourage parents is this: try to discover how to help your child to own their own actions and their outcomes. And so in order to do that, I want to suggest this, that you need to have conversations with them. I like the one, Karen, you talk to them like an adult. Well, doesn't mean that we use adult words, but that they are someone who are able to understand and set goals, and also have determination. That means they're not just a kid. You know, sometimes we say, you are just a kid, just listen to me. You know, but if we sit down and talk to them and hear them out and ask them, so when we talk about outcomes, so at the end of the day, I need you, you want to do well in your studies, right? Yes. What does it mean to do well in your studies? Oh, I do all my homework and I do reasonably well, whatever that is, the grade they are looking for. And okay, so that is the outcome. Okay, so tell me, what do you need to do to go there, to achieve that? It's not us imposing on them, like, okay, you need to sit down and study and not move for 3 hours, for instance. So let me say this, that motivation is this. We all understand this. You can sit down for 3 hours, 4 hours and not get the work done. Or you can sit down for 1 hour and get more than anything done. Why? Because of the focus and the concentration. And so this is very important. It's not about spending time. It's about being motivated. It's about being concentrated and focused. And so we ask our children, let them determine and suggest what the actions that they can do. What is their plan to do? Let them be the ones that say it. Because once they can say it, they own it. It's not imposed on them from us. It says, just listen to me. I eat salt more than you eat rice. That frame is not the best, because it's sustainable only for a short run. It's not going to help them for the long. And so have conversations with them. Let them determine, come up with a plan. Obviously, you start to see that, you know, that they are sometimes may not keep to their own action plan as well. And so then we hold them accountable for the outcomes. Says, okay, so this is the outcome that we agree on, and we allow you to have your own action plan, how you do it. Okay, so it can be negotiated. It may not be 100% from them, but it's agreed upon. It comes through conversation, discussion. And so at the end, it says, well, in 2 weeks' time, if we don't have the outcome, then we have to tweak your plan. And so you'll be more mommy or more daddy's part in it than your part. Is that agreed? And so it says, yeah, okay. So you are training your child to understand consequences as well. And so, but the most important thing, the outcome that you get is that they own their goals, they own their action plan, they own that they are accountable for the outcomes. And if they can learn that early, they'll be set for life. I believe. Okay, so I believe that's very, very important. Yes. And
Yeah.
so at this point in time, perhaps Grace, we can look at some specific questions.
Yeah,
That
we do have some questions that have been posed to us. Maybe we could publish one or two of this. This one, very interesting. I think many parents have this belief that their children can achieve a lot more, but many kids are like thinking, okay, just pass, it's enough. I don't need to get an A, you know. Yeah, but you know that your child is actually capable of much more. How do we motivate, you know, the child to want to achieve this so much more, you know, in their life?
Yes. Remember, I said the fundamental thing that we need to do is assume that they want to do very, very well. They want to be the best student that they can be and achieve the best result. And this is what they believe as well. And so if this person just says, oh, just pass, then we have to ask ourselves, what is the meaning of that? What is the obstacle to him wanting to be the best version of himself? Is something else happening in his life? What's going on there? What's stopping him from wanting to do better? I've a lot of success with working with students. I ask them, where are you now in terms of from a scale of 1 to 10 in terms of being satisfied with your own studies? And sometimes a person I mean, they'll say around 6 or 5 or 6. I said, so where do you want to go? I want to be an 8. I mean, and when they say that, I mean, they are admitting that they can be an 8. And so what's stopping them from moving from a 5, 6 to an 8? And so we got to ask ourselves that question. If I can show the slide again, next slide, if it's possible.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to that slide. Okay. Understand this, when we have discussions with our children, we have to assume the best for them. And usually we only look at the surface, and you can see here what's observable. This is iceberg, and we understand that what we see is the tip. The saying, the tip of the iceberg, right? It's only about 10%. The bulk of the iceberg is actually below water. What is observable are the results, behaviors, actions. We see our student listless, not focused, not concentrated, saying things like, "Aya, it's past can already lah," you know, and all that. But what we don't see underneath, they are the emotions. What's going on there? What's he feeling towards that subject or studies in general? What are the thoughts? What is his belief system, beliefs about the studies? Where did he acquire those beliefs from? You know, what is it? Has he expressed them to you? And of course, if we are in a mode of scolding, they will not reveal all these things to us. And have there been traumatic experiences? I work with students who absolutely hate maths, and a lot of them I can trace back to primary school. I mean, they are in secondary school, but they're not doing well in maths. I mean, as I have conversation with them, I can trace back to primary school when they had negative experiences with teachers teaching them maths, and they were so afraid. One particular person even had a bad experience with her own father, who in wanting to tutor her in maths, was so angry with her, and in a fit of desperation or impatience, said something to her that she, from then on, like, okay, I will never ask anymore. Okay, so that made a decision then. So there could be memories or anchors and triggers that has been applied, and so they don't understand. They don't want to really do well. So what is going on underneath? As parents, we need to be able to draw that out, and in order to draw that out, there must be conversations with our children that is that do not put them on the defensive. When we are scolding mode, they are totally on the defensive. They'll clam up. They'll not say it. It has to be, sometimes in the middle of the lesson, when when we're doing the, it's not the best environment to talk. Perhaps a more relaxed environment where you are not triggered yourself, you're not angry yourself, and casual, and just talk about, I mean, we are all adults, you know how to go there, right? You just lead there, but not from the perspective of, okay, I'm going to find out what's wrong with you. No, there's not wrong with the person. Okay, it's or your child. It's what's preventing him or what's stopping him, what's an obstacle that he need to overcome. So I hope you understand that. And just to illustrate, when you on the front, the surface, we see this thing called unmotivated. What can go underneath unmotivated can be fear. The fear of failure, the fear of being laughed at, maybe got picked out in class and made to look stupid, and perhaps somebody has used the S word on them, stupid, you are good for nothing. That stays on us. Uncertainty, lack of clarity, do not understand how to see the strategy to succeed. Limiting beliefs, what they believe about.
Sorry, your video is turned off. I think you need to get it on again. Yeah.
Okay, I'm back. As long as the audio is not off, great. Or perhaps they can't see the purpose of doing that, to study that subject, or lack of confidence, and perhaps resentment. Every time they struggle with a certain topic, they get scolded, and because of that they rebel and they resent, and so because of that they just appear unmotivated. So this is illustrative. It's not for everyone, but what's going on underneath, and we need to be able to sieve that out to help our children. Okay, so I hope that helped a bit. I think back to that question, the earlier question. Can we go there?
The Q&A question that we posed just now. Okay.
Yes.
The Q&A mode. Okay, this one. I think we have a few coming in. Yeah, there's a few parents that came up with this. So there's one that says about the just pass, and I think there's one more comment by this lady Fiona. How to motivate a kid who's always complacent with whatever results is that this just pass situation. Teachers always feedback my son has yet to push himself to his max and yet to show his potential. I think the parents are like thinking, how can we unleash this potential, that we all believe our kids have, to be the next future doctors, lawyers, and, yeah. So how do we pass on this belief to our child or children and make them realize that, look, you are more than what you are now?
And of course, that's not going to come through scolding. It doesn't come through forcing the child to accept what your goals are for the child, because this is something they have to do. They don't want, obviously they do not want to disappoint you, and but they don't own it. They don't feel that this belongs to them, and they doing it because they have to, not because they want to. And so we need to be able to have conversations with them and help them come to a conclusion to what they want, because I believe that what they want is the same as what we want. It's the same thing. We want them to maximize their potential. We want them to do well. That's what they want. But so at the end of the day is this. So we ask ourselves, what is the meaning of just do okay can already? I don't need to push myself. What is the meaning? What's stopping him? And so we need to be able to sieve that out. What's going on there? Perhaps does he feel comfortable? Does your child, I mean, I just want to be honest. I'm just looking at all the parents right now and ask, do you think your child will tell you everything, anything, tell you the truth about how he's feeling? Because based on history, if he, how have we dealt with their feelings? How have we dealt when they tell the truth? Did we scold them? They punish them? And then they will develop this resentment, or they say that, oh, I'm not going to share or tell mom or dad anymore. And so that's where the the blockage comes. Usually children you know in the field of counseling, children behavior is actually symptomatic. And what I mean is this: when you have a fever, when you have an infection, the symptom is fever. Fever is not the problem, the infection is the problem. We understand that. And so children's behavior usually are symptomatic of what is happening in their lives. And usually what's the most meaningful and powerful things that are happening to their lives is in the family. So my question is this: what's going on at home? Children usually, and I've dealt with a lot, or we're not perfect. There's no perfect family, and we have our differences. And a lot of times, when daddy, mommy quarrel, the children will not think in this way that, oh, they just are two people who are imperfect and do not know how to resolve or at this point, or they are very, very tired. So that's why they are impatient or lose their temper. Or when we scold them, they won't think that, oh, because daddy has worked so hard, got problems at work, and so therefore he's impatient with me. So they internalize what's happening at home. For instance, they think, they blame themselves. They say that, well, it's my fault. I'm the problem. If daddy and mommy are quarreling, it's my problem. And so that affects them drastically, and it can be manifested in their studies as well. They become demotivated, or they create drama that cause them to be the problem. For instance, if they misbehave in school or get into trouble in school, and bully people in school, and then the problem become them. And so they're comfortable with that, rather than the problem be at home, the problem become them. So this is how children make sense of their world at this age. They're not fully matured. So we got to understand that. And so there are many things underneath the water, the iceberg, that we need to sift out. And so the best thing is this: nobody's perfect as daddy, mummies, but we can be transparent, we can be vulnerable, we can actually sit down and have honest conversations with our children, and not always in a work mode, that you must do well mode. You don't do well, you are disappointment mode. But really is neutral, maybe a spirit of fun, and then sit down and lightheartedness, a humor, and just talk about life, studies, So don't do well, what are you gonna do? Or what are your options? Be road sweeper, or whatever. I know that because my parents used to threaten me: if you don't study hard, you go become road sweeper. But do it humorously, and know that they are not the problem. Because once they think that they are the problem, they will shut out and will not want to disclose what's going on. And so we must be patient to sift that out. Yeah, so I hope that helps a little bit. Well, just pass. There are a lot of other things that we can explore. If your child is in front of me now, I can have conversation with your child regarding why he just thinks that just pass. But the focus is not just him saying, I just want to just pass, but it's in the whole idea of what's the meaning of success, or what's the meaning of studies and all that as well. Okay, so is there another question that
we
that
are now at 8:58, so we are going to
wow.
overrun a little bit more if we have got more questions coming in. So basically what happens is that I've known Darren for a long time, like decades, and
Yeah.
he really wants to help. That's why we are actually doing this webinar for free, because we know that there's actually a lot of tension, now at home, because the parents are like eyeballing the kids 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and then 2 months. So it's like the before the kid goes crazy, I think the parents are going to go even crazier, because we have our bosses waiting for us on Zoom. And then, we have our kids who are like, I can't log into Zoom for my school and home-based learning. So we have a few more options here. Oh, we have a lady who has found a very innovative solution to really hear what we are saying. She used the laptop to watch, and then she used her handphone to listen in to us.
Nice.
So troubleshooting to the best. Yeah, we are asking for feedback because this platform is pretty new to us, but it's actually more secure than Zoom. That's why we actually are opting to use this platform. So we are going to run another seminar next Sunday. So I mean, all this feedback that you're giving us is really useful. We have another question coming in. Okay, let me just pin this. It says here, Darren, how do you motivate
Yes.
kids to find purpose in doing well in studies? At this age, they seem to be finding more purpose in their online games. So how do we make them see, the light at the end of the tunnel, and the bigger picture is pretty difficult actually. Yeah.
Well, let me answer this by first telling you one of the cases which I saw. One mother came to me and she says, please help my child. He's not motivated in his studies. And I said, so what does he do when he comes home? Well, he goes straight to his computer, switch on, and he plays for hours. Even when dinner time, I call him, he'll ignore me and he keep on playing. I said, that doesn't sound like unmotivated. He sounds very motivated, but not with his studies. His studies with his motivator is computer. So you see, it's a misplaced motivation. And so then we ask ourselves regarding this thing called triggers. What about these computer games that your child is so into, so motivated? What about it? And when we look at our studies, this is a challenge for educators as well, because the old way of learning is over. Sit down, listen to me, copy down the notes. It's over. How can we capture the imagination of children and give them interest in studies? You see, what happens is this. First of all, understand this. When they play computer games, they succeed. That's why they play very long time. They go up many levels. But if they do we give them opportunity to succeed? We always praise them when they do have good results, and we scold them when they don't have good results. But that's not the best frame, because we don't reward. For some people, it's about effort. If you understand mathematics, it's very interesting that in America they think that all Asians are very good at maths. It's a stereotype, right? If you're Asian, you must be good at maths. Nobody told me that in school. But the US citizens thinks that through public school or what, they are hopeless at maths. The explanation is this: the reason why Asians are better at mathematics than the US students is because we stay longer at the problem. It's not that we are intellectually better, it's that we keep at it until we actually get it. And the US, they actually give up very easily. They stop, and so they therefore never got around to understanding the methods and how to get it right. And so they never had success. What I'm saying is that they never had success in mathematics. While when you have the satisfaction of having solved the problem, and he says, yes, I'm successful. And sometimes some of us may not get it, but we spend a lot of time and effort on it. And so sometimes we need to give reward. We need to acknowledge effort rather than results. So for trying hard, we can acknowledge the effort, give them wins. Like, yes, it's good because you spend effort. You may not have got the right answer, but you're halfway there, and so you will get it soon. And so it's the way we converse with them, the way we talk to them. Do they get wins? Do they go up levels? I'm talking using game analogy, but do they accumulate points? Do they get the Medishield? I mean, not Medishield, the Medipack and the weapons catch, or whatever game they're playing. Yeah. So how can we help them find interest and challenge in the studies? Okay. And so by having wins. And so we ask ourselves, what are the triggers about the games that make them so interested? How can we repurpose those triggers for their studies? Okay, so that's we need to do it in a very creative manner. And so this is the future of education. This is something that not one person is experiencing, everybody is experiencing. I saw a comment, people like to watch YouTube. I got two, a brother, sister that I was coaching. I asked them, so what do you want to do in life? Oh, we want to be YouTube
YouTubers.
YouTubers,
YouTubers.
you know, are like, wow, interesting. And so how are you going to become a YouTuber? Oh, we are watching YouTube every day. And I mean, they have a purpose there because they have a vision. And I start to talk to them and said, and so how do you think your mathematics and science, you know, can help you? Then they start thinking. And then they realize that in order to be successful as a YouTuber, I don't denounce that you being wanting to be YouTubers, but usually parents would tend to do that, like, hey, don't be stupid lah. What about this stupid YouTube? You know, and once we throw water on their dreams, we actually cause a division and resentment in them. And so they do not want to listen to us. I mean, if they once they become teenagers and you're no longer close to them, that's not normal. I mean, sometimes we tell ourselves, normal lah, teenager already. No, it's not normal. It's not supposed to be like that. You're supposed to be still your best friends with your teenager, and your teenager must be able to talk to you and tell you anything and everything, yeah. And so don't have that belief system that it has to be that now you're all strangers. No, and so don't pour water on their dreams. I mean, when they grow, they mature, they will repurpose their dreams. Okay, they will realize for themselves that YouTubing is not it. But how can we talk to them? We talk to them about how you can be the best YouTuber, and then we help them think through and think about how doing well in their studies, particular topics or whatever, can help them be the best YouTuber there. Set
Yeah.
people apart, set them apart, give them the leg up or whatever. And so conversations as well that you have with your children. Okay, so I hope that helps a little bit. I don't know, how are we on time, Grace?
We are overrun by 5 minutes, but I think we can
Okay.
take one question if there is. I mean, just back to this topic about YouTubers, I always tell my students, you want to be a YouTuber, you need to be able to speak properly, grammatically
Uh-huh.
correct.
That's
Your
right.
oral fantastic. You must be able to do copywriting, and you can't do that with lousy English. I'm an English teacher, right? So I can't help but to say that. Yeah, we have a few more questions. We have this thing, this question that came from a parent to us is what is reasonable? You know, our children at home now will try to negotiate, right? So if I do this, how much TV time or YouTube time or laptop or iPad time are you going to give me? And because we are all stuck at home right now, how is this going to change the negotiating, patterns?
Well, again, the reason why we have to come to this, the negotiation of how long they can spend on TV or playing games, is because they don't own their actions, they don't own their outcomes. And so and so it's like they do things because they have to. Okay, so I do this, and so now I want to have more time playing and watching TV. And so it's back to the question of how can we help them own their actions and outcomes. You see, again, I say this, that motivation is not really about spending long time hours in the studies. It's being focused and concentrated. And so it's measured by outcomes. At the end, they can achieve the outcomes in the best possible way. Then they can decide what they want to do with their time. And so when you give them that liberty or that autonomy to do, something shifts in them. They understand that they are responsible for their own outcomes. And so if they do not meet those outcomes, then they have to face the consequences, which is not said by you, but agreed by them. And so this is very, very powerful, because this is not imposed by you. This is a consequence that is agreed upon when you talk about outcomes and how to go there. And so put that into the conversation. Okay, so let's say if you don't hit this outcome, and what would be the consequences? Tell me. So what will be the consequence? Well, if I don't meet this outcome, then no TV time. Oh, you say one, I never say one. But I tell you, I quite good. If you don't hit the outcome, only 30 minutes. Okay, see, I better than you. So a bit humor, but yet you can establish these consequences which is discussed and agreed upon, they own the consequences. And so when if they don't meet the outcome, then we impose the consequence. And so they will understand this. And this is something that, you know, I found children also, they once they blow it, they know it, and they impose a consequence on themselves. It's not something we do to them. They quite go and carry out, execute the consequence. And so, but then back to the question again, what's a good time? So there's no right answer for this. Sometimes you play so much that you become too tired to do studies. And so there's no right answer. There's a balance here. But the most important thing is this: outcome. What are the outcomes? What you want? And studies obviously is not the only outcome that you want now. You will understand this, that family time is also very, very important. Quality of the relational issues, relationships in the family, also very important. What you do together as a family, having meals together and all that. And so that can be powerful outcomes. I want to encourage you that this is opportunity for us to actually sit down and talk about what we want as a family. And studies is one of them, not everything. Family time is also very important. The relationship between children and parents are also very important. And so we need to be able to sit down and talk about these things and come to agreement on. Yeah. And so then we'll have a very fruitful work from home or home-based learning during this circuit breaker season. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Darren. I think that's all the time we have for today. So maybe you'd like to share a little bit more about what you can do to help them further if you want. Yeah.
Yes. We feel that we really want to help people. And so usually I want to be there. And so I'm going to offer for this period free coaching or consultation, coaching with the students or consultation with parents, or even the parents themselves. If you have, it's not just has to do with studies. Maybe it has to do with working from home or relational issues or something that you're grappling with psychologically, emotionally, whatever it is. As a coach is not a counselor. A coach is someone that helps you do better at what you are already. And so it's not like something wrong with you. It's help you do better. Okay, so I want to be able to offer that. And all you need to do is sign up on the Google form. Once you sign up, I will contact you and we'll try to fix a time together. Each session is 45 minutes via Zoom, or my choice is Zoom. It's easier. And hopefully it'll be of service to you. Yes.
Thank you, Darren. Thank you so much. Okay, before we all go, I just want to let you guys know that for those who have primary school students, this is something that we are doing first time for students. It's actually our way of giving back. This is actually a free session for all primary school, primary 3 to 6 students. And basically, we'll be doing a compo writing class online. And basically, we are actually teaching them how to come up with good story ideas and how to write a better composition using our super writers technique. So next Sunday at 8 o'clock, we are going to be open for this session. Basically, this session is meant to benefit those students who have no access to tuition classes at this moment because of some financial issues that they have at home. But because it's a webinar, so we can take up to a few hundred people. So please sign up if you are interested. And meanwhile, if for kids who are really bored at home, you can also consider our online classes and upcoming online classes that will be available. We also have some free ebooks that you can probably download and get your child to actually read. Since they are very free now, holiday is going to start. So we have one version for the primary school students and we have another one for the secondary school students. So we will be sending the replay of this webinar to your emails as well. So feel free to actually share them with your friends who might Darren sharing. So thank you everyone for coming. We'll see you next Sunday. Bye-bye. Bye, Darren. Thank you, Darren. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Grace. Take care.
Okay, take care, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.